Hello, my beautiful babies. This is Ashley with Ashley Says So, and I am back with another video today. This video is going to be about the gorgeous Miss Billie Holiday. Before we get started, a quick disclaimer. I know y'all are tired of hearing it, but I got to say it. Please don't take anything in this video as fact. I am just here to entertain and get the conversation started. So if you know things I don't know, please drop them down in the comments and we can all enjoy. Go ahead and click like, subscribe, and share because I know you guys are going to love this video. Back in 1914, on the streets of Baltimore, there was a black teen couple by the name of Clarence Holiday and Sarah Julie Sadie Fagan. Although this couple was very young, some people say 13 and 15 years old, they were already having grown-up sexual relations. And of course, when you have very grown-up sexual relations, somebody ends up getting pregnant. And as I stated before, Sadie may have only been 13 years old, but some sources put her at 15 and some sources put her at 19. I like to believe that she was 15 years old. So Sadie is pregnant. She tries to hide it from her mom and dad. And that works for a little while, but sooner or later her belly starts showing. And her mama and daddy find out and they're like, no ma'am, we're not taking care of you and some baby. So take you and your pregnant belly and get up out of our house. And that's what Sadie did. Now, although Sadie and Clarence are still together at this point, he's just pretty much a teenager or a very young adult, just like she is. So he doesn't have anywhere for her to go. So that's when she moves to Philadelphia, and that's when she gives birth to the star of our story, Miss Eleanor Fagan, aka Billie Holiday, who was born on April 7th, 1915. Now, after Billie was born, Clarence, who had never even lived with Billie or Sadie, was like, oh, heck no, peace out. I'm not finna sit up here and take care of this baby. I got stuff I want to do. And that's when he left the family to become a jazz man. But some people say that it wasn't because he didn't want to take care of his family. Some people said that that's because Clarence wasn't the baby's daddy at all. They claimed that Sadie was messing around with a man named Frank DeVries. So, who knows? Was Clarence just sorry and dipped out, or did he really think that Billie was not his child? Billie would say that her parents were married, when she did interviews or things like that. But they said that that was a lie. As a matter of fact, they said that Billie exaggerated a lot when it came to her family and the way she was raised. Speaking of the way she was raised, Billie suffered horribly through childhood. First off, soon after she was born, her mother found it way too hard to care for a baby as well as work as a railroad passenger attendant. So she gave little Billie away to her elder half-sister, Eva Miller, who lived in Baltimore. And when Eva got Billie, I guess she was like, screw this, I don't want to raise this child either. And she ended up giving Billie away to her mother-in-law, her husband's mother, a lady by the name of Martha Miller. Now let me slip this little bit of information in here. Researchers say that although Billie was getting passed around, somewhere along the line during her childhood, she actually lived with her maternal great-grandmother. They know this because Billie said that her grandmother used to tell her stories about slavery and what she went through. And then one day after a story her grandmother told her, they took a nap together and her grandmother ended up passing away in her sleep. And when Billie woke up, she woke up with her grandmother's dead, cold arms wrapped around her in a vice-like death grip that she had trouble breaking out of. Just wanted to slip that little bit in there. Now let's get back to Martha Miller, who's actually really raising Billie. Well, not even raising Billie, honestly. You know how people just have children and they're just there? Pretty much they just make sure the child gets fed, but they don't really care for the child. That is what Miss Martha was doing. It was so bad that Billie even had to go to a girl's home because Miss Martha wasn't sending her to school. She was letting the girl be truant. And so the truancy officer came to her house and they took Billie Holiday away. And at this point, the child was only 9 years old. Now, Billie said she had a horrible time at this girl's home. She said that the other kids would beat on her. The adults there would beat on her. Everybody picked on her. They even locked her in the room with the body of a dead girl. So apparently she had it pretty dang on hard. Now, going through this type of treatment, I'm sure left scars on little Billie. But she did end up leaving there on October 23rd, 1925. And she went to live with her mother, who by this time had opened up a restaurant called the East Side Grill. And Billie actually started working there at the restaurant with her mother. But child, I don't know if they couldn't cook good or people just wasn't dealing with them and didn't like them. I don't know. But all I know is that them folks ain't made no money. Ain't nobody came to eat at that doggone restaurant. Child, they had to shut the doors, and that's when they went to work cleaning houses for wealthy white women. Now, let's get into a little scandal here. Billie is around 11, 12, whichever source you want to believe, but she's around that age. Her mother comes home from work. This is a day before Christmas in 1926. Her mother comes home from work and catches the neighbor man, a man by the name of Wilbur Rich, aka Mr. Dick, trying to rape Billie. Child, her mama bust that man all upside the head and kicking him and punching him in the stomach, and I wish she would have bit him in the spleen. Get off my child, what are you doing? You know, I hope she got him real good, but she must have done something because she was able to fight him off and he was arrested by the police and he actually was charged. But Billie was also punished for whatever reason. She was removed from the home and she was taken back to Good Shepherd, the place that she was taken before, and put in the girls' home. They also wanted her to be a witness in Mr. Dick's trial. Billie was released from the Good Shepherd in February 1927. And when she came home this time, wasn't no restaurant, honey, wasn't no nothing. Billie found her mother to be very, very broke, like super broke. But soon they started cleaning houses again. And Billie supplemented that income by working for a brothel. Now, at this time, Billie was not turning tricks or doing anything like that. She was just running errands for some of the other girls that worked there. Just doing stuff that they didn't really have time to do. By 1929, Billie and Sadie had moved to Harlem, and they moved to live in a house of a woman named Florence Williams. Pretty soon, though, they found out that it wasn't just Florence's goodwill that welcomed them there. She ran a whorehouse, and she expected them to come up off some money. Now, Sadie didn't really take any kind of convincing. She saw the good money that the other working girls was making, and honey, she laid on her back. That's just what it was. She wanted her coin. Billie was still a child, so I don't really think that she can consent. And I'm going to tell you something about that in just a second about Billie's attitude towards it. But my feeling is I don't really feel like she can consent. So really, she was pretty much sex trafficked. And she was making about $5 a man. That is my feeling, my opinion. I want to make that clear because Billie, per her request, she pretty much didn't want anybody to feel like she was a victim. So she looks back on all of those times like all that stuff is her choice. You know, she is not the type of person with the woe is me attitude. She just isn't. She never had that throughout her life. So now they're working at a brothel and business is good. With their spunky attitudes and their good looks, they are making a lot of money. But then the house gets raided. Police come in, child, folks running everywhere. Ooh, girl, child. I hope boy nobody naked and running around with their boosted flopping everywhere. Just running to my and booty flopping everywhere. Lord have mercy. I hope that wasn't happening. But anyways, the police raided the house on May 2nd, 1929, and Billie and her mother were sent to prison. And Sadie was released that July, and Billie was released in October. And they had to start all the way back over from scratch. No money. It's possible that they went back to prostitution at this time. I'm not sure about that. But I do know that around this time, Billie felt the need that she wanted to entertain. That's how she wanted to make her money. So Billie, and these are her words, not verbatim, but this is pretty much what she said. She said that one day her and her mother are so hungry that they cannot breathe. Like they are just starving. And there's no money anywhere. So she said she walked down the street and she walks into a club called the Log Cabin. And it was owned by a man named Mr. Jerry Preston. So Billie walks in and she finds Mr. Preston and she wants a job. She asked him, will he hire her? And so he goes, okay, yeah, can you dance? Like, get up there and show me if you can dance. So Billie gets up there and she cuts a rug, baby. You know, she getting down, jamming, two-stepping, breaking the sweat. You know, hey, she's showing them what it is. So she gets done and she turns around and she looks at Mr. Preston and Mr. Preston is like, what is that? Girl, no, you sitting up here kicking your little leg out and stuff. Baby, you ain't got no rhythm. You might as well go and sit down and get out of my face. And then Billie's like, come on, I need a job. And so now he's like, can you sing? And she's like, yes, I can. And so the pianist started playing a song, which was called Traveling. And Billie sang the song and she did very well. And then Billie said that the pianist started playing a song called Body and Soul. And she started singing that. And from what Billie said, the whole audience in the bar started crying. Like everybody, they just like paused and then started crying. y'all know I'm crazy, I'm silly. But I'm sorry. Now, I believe that they definitely, like, somebody in there was crying. I do believe that. But I'm sorry, y'all. I just can't believe, like, the whole bar just, like, was like, oh, yeah, and started crying. I just can't believe that. But like I said, it is a good tale. That's fine. I get it. But it's just a little bit funny that everybody in the bar was crying. Okay, let's move on. Whatever the case, whether everybody was crying or not, Mr. Preston was impressed with Billie's singing, and he did hire her on. So, word is starting to get around about that cute little thick colored girl that's down there singing at the log cabin. And customers started coming. Mostly men are coming. And Billie's doing her little show, and when she's dancing, she's actually walking around the floor, working her magic, flirting with the men. So the men start to leave her tips. They're putting them on the table for her to pick up. And Billie was like, no, you need to put the tips in my hand. It's just something about her picking up those tips off the table that did not sit right with her. She felt like that was disrespectful. So she requested the tips to be put in her hand. And if the man didn't pick it up and put it in her hand, oh well, baby doll just wasn't getting tipped because she wasn't changing that. As her money started to come in, she and her mother were able to buy a little home of their own. And her mother started taking in boarders. And this is when Billie Holiday met a man named Lester Young, who would become a lifelong friend of hers. He was also a sax player. And her fame started to grow a little bit. And when it did, that is when she changed her name from Eleonora, a name that she had pretty much hated all her life. She changed her first name to Billie, which came from popular actress of the day, Billie Dove, and she took her dad's last name, which is Holiday. But at first, she pronounced her name Billie Holiday with a H-A instead of a H-O. And then over time, she dropped the Holiday and she turned it to Billie Holiday. With her name change and her beautiful singing, profile is growing more and more and more. And soon she is cast in a movie which is put together by Duke Ellington. And Billie's role is a small little role, something where it's called jealousy or something, and her lover just does not want her anymore. He's like wanting to cheat on her with a female, and Billie's all tugging at him, be my man, stop. And so soon she pushes his lover, and don't you know this man turns around and push her down, and y'all, I'm sorry, I am gonna laugh on this one. Y'all, now they know they could have had somebody help her learn how to fall and stuff. Y'all, the way Billie fell in that movie, I'm sorry, but hey, let me just say this. I'm about to make a face in a minute. And when I make that face, I want y'all to look in my description box and click on that link. Go to 3 minutes and 58 seconds and press play. And then come back and you're going to see why my face looking like this. Y'all, please go look at Billie. Hold on, look at my face. Okay, I don't want to hold that face for too long because I know all of y'all didn't just pause this video. But even if you didn't, y'all, please go click on that link after I'm done talking to y'all and go look at the way they had Billie Holiday falling down. I mean, they had her going down like Frasier. Them folks, I be shaming theyself. So we've established that Billie's star is shining and on the rise. And now she's starting to sing with some popular people. The first person being pianist Teddy Wilson. And Billie enjoyed this time with this band because her best friend, Lester Young, actually played saxophone for this band. So they had a good time together. But soon she left him and she left to go sing with Count Basie because there was a little bit more money when she sang with Count Basie. Now, it was while singing with Count Basie that she developed a dislike for Chick Webb's orchestra singer by the name of Ella Fitzgerald. She did not like Ella Fitzgerald. They were in competition with each other. And then one night they got into a real competition with each other. This was a night when the Savoy Ballroom was having a battle of the bands. And there was Count Basie's band and there was Chick Webb's band. Well, Chick Webb's band and Ella Fitzgerald won the night. And so this made Billie Holiday, of course, she wanted to win. You know what I'm saying? So of course she gonna be mad at Ella. Ella, you sitting up there ain't even singing good. And then to beat me. Ciao, bye. Luckily, this dislike did not last for all her life. Somewhere along the line, she and Ella Fitzgerald did end up becoming friends. Now, she did also not like Sarah Vaughan. And this dislike did last for pretty much all her life. She just did not like Sarah Vaughan. She just couldn't get into her. She said that she liked Lena Horne and some of the other ones, but that Sarah Vaughan, baby, she couldn't stand her. So, I don't know. Maybe just a little bit of professional jealousy. Who knows? So, at this point, like I said, she's singing with Count Basie, and Basie is telling everyone that, hey, Billie is pretty much running the show. She got an attitude, like she's trying to control everybody, and he was cool with this at first. But then she started to complain. She started to say that she wasn't making enough money. She started to complain about the working conditions. She just wasn't ever happy about anything. And he started to get tired of her little attitude. And then it got really bad. And he had enough because he had asked her to try to change up her singing for each song. He didn't want her to sing every song they played the same way, same tone, same everything. And Billie was like, this is the way I sing. I mean, you either take it or leave it. It is what it is. And Count Basie was like, I'll leave it. Don't worry about it. You fired. And so she got fired. From here, she went on to sing with Mr. Artie Shaw. I don't know why they thought this relationship was going to work with Billie being the strong, tough attitude type woman that she was. But, I mean, it did work for a little while, Artie would take up for her when they went to sing and people complained about her colored tail sitting with the white members of the band. Artie Shaw told her, it doesn't matter, you're going to sit with us, and he was doing good for a little while. But soon it started affecting their money. People were not booking them. So he's like, Billie, look, I do want you to sing with us. But hey, after we sing, please go to your room. Please do not go to the foyer of the hotels. Don't try to mix with the band members. Don't try to mix with anybody in the audience. Don't even try to order a drink. After we sing, get your little black tail off stage and take your tail upstairs. This is the attitude that he started to have with her. And Billie is getting more and more aggravated by the moment. Yes, she's making good money, but she's tired of dealing with this. Well, it ended up all coming to a head. There was one night when they played at a grand hotel, and Billie was trying to come downstairs with the rest of the band members, and then she was asked, no ma'am, can you not use the regular elevator, and we need you to use the service elevator. So Billie is like, no, I don't want to use the service elevator. Artie, what are you going to do about this? And he's pretty much like, can you please use the service elevator? Like, ma'am, we trying to get money out here. But Billie stood her ground and she was right. She's like, it's a little bit more than money now. Like, no, y'all not about to be treating me like this, but y'all want my voice. No. So she ended up quitting. Now, since we've touched on Billie's attitude, let's get into that a little bit more. Billie Holiday was, of course, known to have an attitude. She was known to fight like a man. There's a tale that she was singing and a white man tried to grab at her or curse her out of something, child. They said Billie jumped off that stage and took a chair and bust that man upside the head, child. Probably broke that child across that man's head. I feel like I heard that same story about Dinah Washington. So it's probably true for one of them, but that's one situation. They said there's another situation where she was sitting at a bar. Now this story I got a little bit more reference on, so I do believe this one to be true. Something about she was sitting at a bar and, she's just chilling with her friends drinking. And this white man beside her is putting out his cigarette butts on her fur coat. Like, just smoking and putting them out. So Billie's sitting up there watching them okay, that's cool. I got you or whatever. And said finally she took her glass and pow, busted upside his head, broke it over his head, honey. I bet he was looking in. Child, I would have got up out of there if I was him. Let's get back to our story though. So, like I said, Billie has left Artie Shaw. She's not singing with his orchestra anymore. Around this time, she has met a man that she wants to marry, and his name is Mr. Jimmy Monroe. And Jimmy is a fly guy. He come in, he always clean. He, what's up, baby? Hey, baby, smooth. Yeah. One of them type of cats. You know what I'm saying? Like some men, they just regular, but some men is cats. You hear me, baby? Yeah. So he's one of those type of men. But he's also out here in these streets. You know what I'm saying? He's a hustler. He out here slanging that thing. And Billie liked that. That excited her. So she marries him. But Billie also has a wild side. She has a taste for the party life. So after she marries him, he introduces her to his drugs. And she tries them and she likes them. And so now Billie Holiday is taking opium. So here's Billie going around singing with her husband on her arm, and soon she finds out that he has a roving eye. Like he's cheating with folks in the audience, cheating with anybody, everybody, Billie is angry at this behavior, very upset, saying that she's not going to take it, and she didn't take it. and soon she divorced him. But the thing is that I don't even really know why Billie was worried about what he was doing or why she was mad about it. Because at the same time, Billie was cheating with everybody too. I mean, she was out here sleeping with Orson Welles, Tallulah Bankhead, Louise Crane. Some people even said that around this time she was messing with her so-called best friend, Lester Young. Honey, let me tell you how wild she was. So it was a man that said he was like cleaning the windows. But child, he said he peeked in the window at Billie Holiday's room. And while she was in there scissoring with some woman, like, and she didn't even care that he saw. Like, she saw him looking and she didn't care about that. And then another guy said that he walked in Billie Holiday's room and she was in there with two women. That girl just, Lord have mercy. Now, her next marriage was with trumpeter Joe Guy, and these two had a very passionate type of affair. Their relationship was really sex, drugs, and rock and roll down to the core. Honey, these two was always at it. They was either fighting or they was, and after a good fight or a good, that's when the heroin came out. And both of them got very, very addicted to heroin. But soon it became a huge problem. Billie got so addicted where she could not do anything without her drugs. Like, she wouldn't go on her shows without her drugs. She would have a house full of folks went and sat up here and came and paid their good money, and you sitting up there talking about you ain't gonna go on stage. You ain't gonna go on stage for who? Well, I know you better give me my doggone money back. That's what I know, sis. It even got so bad for her that she was cast in another movie. This time it was beside Louis Armstrong. And she would have her husband, Joe Guy, to bring her drugs to the set just to get through the movie. And she really didn't have that many parts. Like, she had one part of the piano and then she sang a song. But she would not get through that without her drugs. But her manager ended up banning Joe Guy from the set. Here's another little bit of scandal for y'all's little cup. So, supposedly, Billie Holiday is up in her room and she's snorting cocaine. She's doing her drugs, anything she wants to do. She's chilling, just sitting there with her dog. And there's a knock at the door. And she says, who is it? And somebody says, Bird, as in Charlie Bird Parker. And if you know anything about him, at this time, he's also heavily into drugs. So, Billie tries to hide her drugs, because she knows that's what he's looking for. So she hides her drugs up under the bed, and she finally opens the door. And he's like, Billie, what you got? What you got? So Billie was like, I don't have nothing. Child, why come her dog came from up under the bed just stiff? Just stiff, honey. Stiff as a mannequin. Can't even hardly move. Because he done sat up there and went up under the bed and snorted the cocaine, child. Dog is high as a kite. You hear me? Baby, I bet he stayed away from white stuff after that. But maybe not. Maybe he liked it, child. Can a dog like cocaine? Because her addiction was getting so bad and out of control, her manager got her to check into a rehab. And she did check into a rehab. And she stayed 2 weeks. And when she got out, she was telling everybody how, it was so good to be clean. It was a long road. It was a long road. But I did it. I got clean. Everybody clapping. Yeah. All that stuff. Well, child, come to find out the nurse was in there giving her drugs, child. She wasn't nowhere near clean. They wasn't doing nothing, just chilling in rehab. And I bet the folks was wondering, like, why she ain't shaking, sweating, or nothing. Oh, Lord, it's just a bunch of tea and scandal, child. Tea and scandal. Honestly, she really should have used that time wisely, and she really should have gotten clean. Because not too long after that, after a show that she had in Philadelphia, the police came to her hotel room and they kicked down the door and they found some drugs in her stocking. And they pinned her up on possession of heroin. And her crazy manager, I don't know what his thing was, but he told her, hey, don't get a lawyer. Don't get anybody to represent you. And most people think he did this because he felt like if she goes ahead and serves some time, she can actually truly kick the habit. So maybe he meant well, but it probably was not a good idea for him to try to make those decisions for somebody else. And because what he did was make it easy for the world to know that Miss Holiday is doing drugs, like she's on heroin. Her face is on every newspaper. And this is because she ended up getting sentenced because she did not have any lawyer or anything to protect her. She was sentenced to a year and a day in prison. This also brought on some depression for Billie Holiday. She only served 9 months of that sentence, but they said that whole 9 months, like she didn't sing a tune. She was very, very depressed to be back in that same position that she used to be in. After Billie Holiday got out, she didn't even go see her family and friends before she went and got a score and started scoring on drugs again. One of her friends, a piano player, I can't think of his name right now, but he said she had just got released from prison. By the time she got to him, she was already high. So she didn't want to kick it. And he said himself that he asked her, like, is there just no hope? And she said, I guess not. You know, with an attitude. That's just, she made her own decisions. Billie Holiday did what she wanted to do, and she lived with those choices. Since Billie was convicted on that heroin charge, they took away her cabaret card, which meant she could not perform in any club in New York or anywhere in New York that served alcohol. This made her finances suffer tremendously because there was no money coming in. But they were able to put on a major comeback show for her at Carnegie Hall. And it was at this show, this is the one where Billie Holiday was plugging in her gardenia and she stuck herself in the scalp, in her head, with that big old pin that they pin down gardenias with. She stuck herself in the head and she was actually bleeding on stage down her face. She was bleeding all into her black dress. And one of her friends said, hey, you know, we can just cancel the show. Like, you're bleeding pretty bad. And he said that Billie was like, no, like, I want to keep going. And I guess that she felt like if these people are still supporting me, it's my duty to give them a show. That show went really well. She was able to live off that money for a little while, but how long is that money going to last you? So she was back to struggling again. Because she was struggling without her cabaret card, there was another man who was able to come into her life, and he came into her life easily because he told her, look, I can help you out, lady. I own the Ebony nightclub. And then also I can get you your liquor card back. And she believed him. And his name was Mr. John Levy. But child, come to find out, John wasn't nothing but a pimp and a hustler, child. He sat up there and all he wanted to do was use Billie to get him some money. As a matter of fact, as soon as he got into her life, he started beating her down to the ground. As a matter of fact, a friend said that he stopped by and when he opened the door, Billie's laying there on the ground. And this man is kicking her in the stomach while she's laid on the ground. Like, what kind of mess is that? But they said that he never put his hands on her face, though. John never hit Billie in the face because he said that that was his source of money. And if he messed up her pretty face, she wouldn't be able to bring him any money. So the man was low down, baby. But her friend said it was because she was like a masochist. Like, she liked men that would do her wrong. It made her feel safer. She felt like she had to find a man that was tougher than her. You see what I'm saying? If Billie is able to go out here and knock folks off their feet, she felt like a man should be able to do that for her. And he couldn't do that for her unless he did that to her. You know, so it's that kind of mental thing going on. Being with John Levy really brought Billie Holiday down. Her life started to go downhill. They actually both got arrested, but this time, thank goodness, she got off. When she got off, she left John Levy alone. But she got with another man who did not mean her any good. And this was the toughest, meanest man of all. And this was Mr. Mckay. He abused Billie and kept her drug-addled and used her for her money just like everybody else. But the thing is that not only would he abuse Billie, he would abuse her friends. Like, he would beat up on male and female friends. It was this one lady named Yolande. She gave an interview and she told how he spit on her. Like, just spit on that girl. I mean, just crazy, just mean. And Billie loved every second of it, and people could not understand why. But this guy here, he was something serious. He was so bad that some of her friends ended up calling him Louis DK or Louis DK instead of Louis Mckay or Louis Mckay. In 1954, Billie and Louis traveled to Europe, and she got over there and she really wowed the audience. You know, every show she put on, she scored a touchdown. They even put her on television over there. You know, America had never put her on television. They basically felt like that she was too gruff, you know, to be on all these new music shows. And then it's time to leave. And when it's time to leave, the record company getting all type of letters, child, from the hotel. Basically letting them know, like, Billie Holiday, your so-called star, she has destroyed her hotel room. They're like, that's cigarette burns. There's holes in the carpet. You know, she done pulled down the curtains and everything. Sheets messed up. There's stains everywhere. Just crazy. I mean, her and Louis Mckay just over there living crazy, acting a fool like they ain't got no sense. Y'all destroying folks' property and stuff. Y'all think that's cute. That ain't cute. Come on now, because I know I'll be mad if I own one of them hotels. You doing too much. Now give me my money and pay for this room you done messed up. Like even stealing jewelry out of jewelry stores. Like when she was over in Europe, she even stole some jewelry out the jewelry store just for the heck of it, just to be destructive. And maybe it's because she felt some type of way about her life at this time. She chose to do something else at this time. She chose to have her autobiography written. And this lost her a few friends because she was mentioning names in this book. Like Tallulah Bankhead. Tallulah Bankhead stopped fooling with her in that instant. And basically was telling everybody, she's a great little singer, but I don't have anything to do with her. Like I've never even talked to Billie Holiday. When pretty much everybody knew it was a lie, but she didn't want her reputation to be destroyed. So, she lost some pretty close friends when she did that autobiography. And here we go. Here's something else that brings her life downhill even more. She was arrested again for heroin possession. This time it was her and Mckay. And Maya Angelou said that Billie Holiday told her that, hey, you see this pill? If they try to send me to prison again, I'm going to take this pill. So basically, Maya Angelou was saying that Billie Holiday was basically like, I am going to commit suicide. Luckily, they did not send her to prison this time. They actually just gave her probation. Her and Mckay were put on probation. I forgot to mention that it was also that arrest that she had just got arrested with Mr. Mckay. She married him due to that arrest so he wouldn't be able to testify against her during the trial. And this was a horrible decision for her because he had already been stealing her money anyway, but now they're man and wife, so he can actually just like put his name on whatever and take everything she has. And that's exactly what he did. Took all her money. Billie ain't had nothing, child. I'm telling you. With her life going like this, she became erratic. She became even more unstable. And Mckay ended up leaving. He's going around telling folks like, man, she even too much for me to handle. Like, I can't do this no more and all this. But you sitting up there you cheating on folks, beating on folks, and stealing their money. So she's the crazy one? But those are the excuses that he's giving to leave her alone pretty much. And once he leaves, Billie is like broken. She moves into a small little bitty apartment, 1 bedroom. All she's doing is spending her days shooting up. Like that's all she's doing. Like look at that picture, y'all. There's just needle pockmarks every doggone where. They said she shot up so much that she started inventing ways like shooting between her toes. So that's all she did was drugs and alcohol. She also got dropped by every single one of her record labels at this time. They didn't want anything else to do with it because they felt like her voice was bad. Some people felt like her voice stayed beautiful to the end, but some others felt like she couldn't sing anymore. They were like, her voice is too scratchy. She's done too many cigarettes. She's done too much drugs. She's drank too much. She's really ruined herself. And you guys could probably go listen to her last recorded song or something like that. There were a few people that tried to help her out and wanted to record her, but Billie would make promises and then not show up. Yeah, I'll be there. Thank you for giving me another chance. Yeah. And then not even showing up, wasting people's time. I think she was just going through a very bad depression and she couldn't lift herself out of it. That's what I think. One more thing, she became very resentful at this time. Like she started to resent younger people coming up. She started to resent other Black female singers. Maya Angelou again tells a story about how she's singing at a little club and Billie Holiday is actually in the audience listening. And Maya Angelou sings some little song about peas or eating beans or something, child. And she was like, she had hit a low note and Billie Holiday jumped up and was like, shut up. Shut that black bee up. Shut up. She sound like my mama. Shut her up. And then she gets up and she leaves the room. And Maya Angelou said like she didn't know what to do, so she just left the stage. Girl, I would have been so doggone embarrassed, child. I would have been embarrassed. And Billie, I hope I would have looked up to her because, baby, that ain't right. Sitting up here, ain't nobody done stood up in your doggone show and said nothing to you, and you done got up embarrassing me in front of all these folks. Talking about shut up. You shut up. Well, child, I'm sorry. So the years are coming. Everything is going down. Soon, Billie Holiday's best friend, Lester Young, he passes away. He dies. She goes to the funeral very upset. She tries to sing. The family tells her no, they don't want her to sing. And, she starts cussing people out like those bees in there don't want me to sing. That's my best friend. And I feel like they could have let her sing. That ain't right. They really hurt her. She was very, very hurt behind that. And she had to be very upset and hurt behind it because it was only a few weeks later that she ended up collapsing herself. And that is when she was placed into the hospital. And she was suffering from liver failure. And she was very emaciated, very skinny, very just, her body looked like she had it. She was still so young. Her body was just ravaged. So Billie is now in the hospital, and a nurse trying to come in and help her get comfortable and get her undressed spots some drugs again in Billie's stocking. I swear to God, Billie stay keeping some drugs in her stocking. I don't understand that, but you stay keeping drugs in your stocking. If that's true, I don't know. But God dang it, Billie. So the nurse calls the police. The police comes up there and basically starts interrogating this woman, asking her questions, like she's on her deathbed pretty much. Like, what are y'all doing? They even said they put handcuffs on that poor woman. Now, I don't know if she still had handcuffs on when she passed away. I've heard some people say that was a lie. She did not have handcuffs on when she passed away. I don't know. But I know that sometime during them being there and questioning her, she had handcuffs on because she was under arrest for possession. So they said that she was saying that she had a fear that she did not want to die broke. They said they felt like she knew that she was going to die, but she kept saying, I don't want to die broke. So her manager made something happen, and he actually let Confidential magazine write a write-up on her. And of course, it was about her heroin addiction, but she made $750 from their write-up, and they brought her money to the hospital, and she rolled up that money and she stuck it up between her thighs. I guess that's where she put her money. I don't know, but that's what they said she did. Now, on the morning of July 17th, 1959, Billie's body started shutting down. She started going in and out of conscious. At 3:10 a.m. on that morning, she actually died. She was only 44 years old. And they said the cause of death was pulmonary edema and heart failure. Now, honey, I know we're at the end of the video, but let me throw in a little bit of tea because there's been some kind of scandal, mystery, and conspiracy surrounding her life and her death. Let me tell you that. It is said that Billie was set up in her life a lot by a man named Harry Anslinger. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I don't know. But apparently he worked for the FBI, and he had approached Billie early on, and he told her, hey, shut up about race relations. Like, don't say anything else about them. Like, you're getting too political. Hush your mouth. And it is said that she didn't stop, so that made him angrier and angrier. And so he sent a black man by the name of Jimmy Fletcher on the road to track her, to trail her, to try to infiltrate her circle. And then when Billie Holiday made strange fruit, apparently that was the last straw for Mr. Harry Anslinger. And that's when he had that black guy to plant drugs on her and keep planting drugs on her. And so at least 1 or 2 times out of those times where she kept getting busted for heroin possession, they said it was because this agent had been planting these drugs on her. And they said Billie would complain to people like, this is not my stuff. Like, how is this stuff getting here? What is going on? Why do you guys keep finding drugs on me when it shouldn't be here? Because even though some of those drugs were in her stockings were not always on her. You see what I'm saying? When they found the drugs in the hotel room, the stocking was actually just laid over the bathroom the shower thing. So they kept on finding drugs just around her, in her room, stuff like that. So there's a little bit of shadiness to that. So I don't know if that's true or not, but I just wanted to put that tea out there. This has been the tragic, scandalous story of Miss Billie Holiday. My name is Ashley with Ashley Says So. Go ahead and click like, subscribe, and share. And I hope you guys have a wonderful night.